Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Maker. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have our higher time frame video up above, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to go over our bullish count, and then we're going to be talking about our bearish scenario here as well. So within our bullish count, what we are arguing is that potentially we could have this as a simple impulse, where we're looking at this as 1, 2, looking for this third wave up towards this 1618 area here of this 1459. Now within this count here, we could be potentially looking to complete in an ending diagonal. What I would want to see for confirmation is a push up towards this 1459. Now some other ways we were discussing this was the potential that within this structure here, we could also have this as 1, 2, and then we could be looking to form another 1, 2 here. The same idea would be in play, except within this count here, effectively what I would be looking for is another push to the upside to confirm this. So if we come in here and have a look at this count, effectively what I'm looking for here is that potentially this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up into this high for our A wave. Now what we're looking for in this case here is actually looking for this as a contracting diagonal. So what we'd be saying is that we had the wave 1 into this high here. Effectively we're looking at this as A, B, and C for this wave 3, and looking for this as a fourth, and then looking for the potential here that we could still see continuation up in the fifth wave, which is made up of this as an A, B, and a C. Now what I would want to see within this area is basically to see a retracement to the downside in 3 waves, looking to target out this B wave location here, which would be this 1266 to this 1210. Now if we do see 3 waves to the downside here, what we could then see is a 5-wave move back to the upside, looking for this top trend line again. If we start to lose this trend line, this starts to fall apart and effectively is invalidated by moving down past this 1170. What I would want to see here is continuation to respect this line, and then seeing a retracement down here and then a continuation to the upside. Now if this is going to be a diagonal pattern, what I don't want to see is a move higher than this 1602. So the 1-to-1 off of the 0.618, which would be here at this 1243, would be aligning with coming up here to this 1455. If however we either don't come down as deep as this 0.618, which pushes our target to the upside here, or alternatively we move past this 1-to-1 on the move to the upside, it's going to be important that we don't see price push past this 1602. Now if we do see something along these lines where this move actually looks to extend here in this diagonal, this could actually then start to tie into this idea of this impulse, particularly if we do see a move up here past this 1459 area. So if we do see price push up past this level in an additional wave, then we could be looking for an additional 4th wave here back down towards this 977 before looking for a 5th wave move to the upside. So what I want to see here is just completing towards this target area here, seeing another 3-wave move down, and then seeing this 5th wave to the upside into this target box of this 1873 to this 1607. So that would be looking at this in this way. However, if we are following this idea of this 1-2-1-2, what we could see is that once this move completes to the upside in the yellow wave 1, what we could then see is 3 waves back to the downside, looking to hold this 837 to the 631 level, and then looking for an additional push to the upside. Now if we had to come back down into this golden pocket area here, which would be the 745 to the 722, effectively what we'd be looking for then is the wave 3 target here at this 1618, which would be taken from the low of this move to the high back down into wherever this retracement completes. So this will change the target area depending on how high this comes or how low this comes within this area. So if we do see something like this, this would align with a bigger 5-wave move. Now we also discussed this in the previous video, saying that, well, we could actually see this as potentially 1-2-1-2, and then we were looking for the potential of seeing a bigger 3rd wave to the upside here, looking for this 1773. Now if this is the case, this wouldn't make sense in the way that I'm currently counting this as a diagonal pattern here, but what we could see is that if this is actually extending, we could have a series of 1s and 2s here, and then this could actually become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get 4th and a 5th, and then we just extend out to the upside like this. So that would be a direct extension. What I'd want to see for confirmation of this though would be a move up towards a 1773. And effectively what we'd want to see here, if we come back down into this smaller area here, is that if we are looking at an extension like that, what we'd want to see is this low hold here at this 1170. So if we do see price come back down here in 3 waves, A, B, and C, what I'll be looking at next is how we progress to the upside. If we see this develop as a 3-wave move to the upside and we fail to achieve this 1604, then that aligns with the idea of this being a diagonal pattern. If, however, we see this move actually find support here and we start to see a 5-wave move which pushes up to the 1604 area, that would actually invalidate that idea of the diagonal and would mean that within this end bit here we have this is 1, 2, 3. We'd be looking for a 4th and a 5th wave up towards a 1704, and then from there we're going to have to reevaluate this, because effectively if we start to get this as another 5-wave move like this, what this means is that potentially from further back here we could have this as another 1, 2, this becomes 3, 4, and 5, then we'd have this as potentially another 1, 2 here, this would all become 3, this would become 4 and 5, and this is how we get moves that start to extend out. So going to be watching this area, you know, as long as we hold this zone of this 1170, we can look to potentially have this direct push to the upside here, looking to push straight through this zone. Now in the previous video we were also talking about the potential that we could be looking at something like a diagonal pattern here, where what we were saying is that this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now this doesn't really fit anymore within the count here, because effectively we've got one wave too many now. We were saying that this could be ABC and we could complete here and then we'd be looking to break down in a bigger way. So I still have this on the chart because I'm just interested to see if there's some kind of a flat correction in here, because this is definitely looking like a 5-wave move to the upside. So what I'm just being mindful of is if we do see price start to break down in a bigger way here, potentially this would then align with the idea of this being a diagonal pattern. Now if we do have a diagonal pattern like this, what we need to be careful of is from further back here, this could just be A, this could be B, and this could be C, in which case this is just a corrective move. If this is the case and we have this as a diagonal into this high, the only way this could remain bullish is if we see 3 waves to the downside, we hold support, and then we see continuation to the upside in another 3rd wave from that point. So it's going to be very important what happens after this move. If we see just 3-wave structure down, we could potentially look for continuation up. If we start to see 5-wave structure to the downside, we need to be cautious that this move could start to break down, because within our bearish scenario that we talked about in the previous video, what we're saying is that this move to the upside can also be counted as a corrective move. Now if we were looking at this move in this way, what we'd be saying is that potentially from over here we could have this as an A, B, and we're still looking for that possibility of a C wave to the downside. 165 would be that 1-to-1 minimum requirement I'll be looking for, would be the 0.618 area here at this 341. So if we do fail to break above this 1661 and above this invalidation point of this 2300, effectively what we could just have is this move could just become a 3-wave structure here, and we could start to fall off, and that would look something like this. So if we do see this as a 3-wave move to the upside, and then we see 3 waves back to the downside, and we manage to hold this zone of this 830 to this 623, we could see price actually look to extend out here in a corrective pattern. And what we'd be looking for here would effectively be that this could be our A wave. We see 3 waves down for that B wave, and then we see a C wave to the upside. Now it could also be a 3-wave move. If we want to argue that this is rather A, B, and C, then we could argue this is a W wave here. This would become our X wave, and then we'd look for a Y wave. Alternatively, if we're going to look at this as a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move down, another 3-wave move to the upside, then this would have to be an A wave, and then we'd be looking for that possibility of this B and a C. Now if we are looking at this move into this high, we just need to respect the fact that this would have done enough to be a B wave. So if we stay below the 1661, we need to just be a bit careful that we still have this downside potential that could come into play. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we're currently still above our central line here. So our central line is sitting towards this 1285, and we have this level here of this 1259 as a lower target, as a possible support area. If we start to lose these central lines, what we do have as potential targets for today is this 1222. We have this 1106, 1044, and this 924 area as possible downside targets for today. If we do see, however, price hold support in this area, we could then potentially look for that continuation to the upside. Continuation targets for today would be this 1402, 1465, 1581 and this 1642 as potential targets to the upside for today. Now moving over onto the weekly pivots here, what we can see is that we are currently still above our central lines as well, and these have printed above the previous ones, so these are still indicating that, you know, the market is responding bullishly at the moment. Now if we do see price come back to the downside here, potentially we could see support come in between this 1227 and this 1178. So even if we see a bit more of a deeper retracement here, potentially we could see price look to hold these levels, or at least to have a reaction around these zones. If we are looking at that idea of that continuation to the upside, we would expect this to hold as support and then see price push to the upside. Targets for this week is at this 1410, we have this 1568 and this 1778 to the upside. For as long as we are above these central lines, we have potential to target out this zone. Now if we do however start to break to the downside this week, what we do have as potential targets for this week is this 1444, we have this 835 and this area here of this 677. If we do see price starting to break down towards those zones, I will be interested to see how we react at those different levels. Now looking at the monthly CPR, once again we have printed a higher monthly CPR line here. We have actually come back into the top line here once and retested this. I'm going to be keeping an eye out as potential support here between this 1177, this 1130, this 1080 level could potentially give us support if we look to move back into these zones. Now if we do see price actually look to push to the upside this month, targets that we have open is this 1458, we have this 1690 and this 2015 as possible upside targets. As well as that, if we lose these central lines this month, possible downside targets is this 896. We have this level here of this 566 and this area here of this 334 as possible downside targets for this month. So we don't have to interact with all of these targets, just if we see price move into these zones, price can potentially look to pivot. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below in the comment section, and also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.